You'll notice we are in a different setting today. That's because we're out of the office, baby. We're on a little road trip. Today we are meeting up with our friends StreetHunter LA at a place called BCT where they have a massive 3D printer. You guys can probably make the connection by now. We are here to actually get some more information about the 3D printing because I know there's a lot of interest from you guys about that, and we are actually gonna see some of the printing get done today. I don't know if that means we're actually gonna have a couple pieces in our hands. I'm not quite sure, but I have a ton of questions to ask, and Calvin is here with us today, and Calvin absolutely adores this stuff, so I'm sure he's gonna have a bunch of questions so we can get fully caught up. And this video is gonna be mainly about the process of 3D printing because this is a world's first in the automotive industry, so I really want to go in depth about this and dive into it. Let's go.
Look at my mantle. Mantle shows up again. It's a great mantle, Teach.
No one knows what a mantle even is.
I'm not even gonna explain. I don't need to explain myself to you. It's beautiful. Look at me.
It's a poncho.
It's not a poncho.
It's a glorified poncho.
It has a zipper.
That is a
and it
glorified
splits.
poncho.
It's not a poncho.
It is.
Not
And
a
it's not
poncho.
even
Not a
like
poncho,
cold
it's a
out.
mantle.
It's not even sweater weather and you're wearing a poncho.
It keeps me cool and warm at the same time, Tej, okay? I don't need this. I gotta start my stream anyway. Oh, I'm streaming this? Weird! You should join the Twitch fam, link down below.
So we're in the back lot of BCT right now, and to give you guys an understanding of what BCT is, they're an entertainment company. They specialize in lighting, so the lights that do the Luxor at Vegas, the lights at EDC, the lights at all those like music festivals, they do a bunch of like music productions. That's what BCT is. They specialize in entertainment. So you'll see here there's disco lights and a bunch of crates, and we're in their back lot of overstock. So they do a whole bunch of stuff, but one of the most recent things they have in here is the Massivit 3D printer, which is a huge, large scale 3D printer. Now, the things that they do with that are more stuff like make statues for amusement parks, like Disneyland, and someone asks like, yo, we need a big statue, can you guys 3D print it? Where in the past, you would normally make that statue out of foam, then put epoxy on it, make sure it looks good, and then spray it. This place, BCT, has a Massivit 3D printer, so they've moved along in their business to the point where they're just printing out these big things. What we're doing with our body kit, same thing they're doing. They're just, you know, spraying it in primer, sanding it down, and then spraying it, and it's a more cost-efficient way and much faster. So huge shout out to BCT. Crazy company here. They've been around for a very long time, so we're honored to be here, and we're honored that they're letting us use our Massivit printer. And the reason why we're out here filming in this backlot are there are some things in there that we were asked to not show and show, so we're being cautious and careful of that. We're in an environment that isn't our own, so we're always very careful about what we can and can't show. They actually have a couple of the pieces of the kit ready right now, so we're gonna go in there and check that out. We're gonna go in there and check the printers out and kind of ask little questions and really show what we're doing here, because this is a world first. With that being a world first, there is a high amount of risk here. We are hoping that all of our calculations and everything was done correct, because we took a CAD format and transcribed that format into Massivit's format to have it print correctly. I'm gonna interrupt today's video to say thank you to our sponsor, Zebit. If you guys are not familiar, Zebit is an online marketplace that allows you to buy your favorite products and pay interest-free over time. You can find any product you want off the website and pay a small portion of it at checkout and pay the rest of it over time at the 0% interest rate. In addition to interest-free credit, Zebit has zero cost to join, zero hidden fees, and zero membership fees. Visit zebit.com/TJHunt and receive up to $2,500 of interest-free credit. Click the link down below to take advantages of everything I just said, and be sure to check out products to get it at a low cost. Visit zebit.com/TJHunt and receive up to $2,500 of interest-free credit. Click the links down below to take advantage of it. Thank you so much for Zebit for sponsoring today's video, and now let's get back to it.
When TJ says big scale 3D printing, it's no joke. I'm sure some of you can tell. If you can, comment down below before I reveal it. This is a Rolls-Royce Angel. This is unheard of for 3D printing. 3D printing is like this big. And then we're gonna do a body kit with this? Man.
And the detail on it is pretty good. I mean,
yeah.
As we get into it, we will show how it is printed, and you can almost see the layer format here. But to see this done in full scale is amazing. And I think they told us it took 10 hours to produce that. So this is one of the many props that they do, and they're actually bringing this to SEMA this year. But it's one of many things that they're able to print with a 3D printer.
So these are actually the two first pieces that we've printed for the kit. I'll give you a second here to kind of guess what these two pieces are. Any guesses? Any guesses? These are the rear fender pieces that actually attach to the rear end of the bumper. This is the most back end of the kit. So you can see these are actually like pretty solid pieces where normally this would be a fiberglass mold, but our first pieces are gonna be done in this 3D print material. So if you kind of get up close, you can almost hear this. It's printed in many, many layers, and we'll get into that a little bit later in the video when we actually get to the 3D printer. But you can see, this was done in 4 hours. They printed both of these pieces in 4 hours. This is very, very far from being done. There's gonna be a lot of process of primer that needs to get sprayed, and then sanding it, and then primer, and then sanding it, and then primer, and then sanding it. Obviously, this piece came out like this, but when attached to the side of the car, we still need to cut all these pieces out. So it doesn't come out just perfect. There still is what you would call some body work that needs to be done to these pieces. But the fact that this just came from a computer file and is right here, we can actually see it, we can hold it to the car, that is groundbreaking in this industry, and it is definitely a world's first. There are some slight edges here that Calvin might be able to get on camera with some contrast with my hand. You can see it's a little bit rough here. We're gonna need to sand all that and make it good. There's some light body work. You can also see a little bit right here, Calv. Can you capture those ridges a little bit? You can see these ridges here came naturally from the printer. But again, that's something super, super easy. With a dual action sander, you can make that nice and smooth, and you're on to the next one. So incredible. These are 2 examples right now, and we have 2 more pieces inside that you can actually see were printed a different way. Calv, follow me under these little things. So once this was printed, it came out like this. You'll notice it kind of has these weird stands on it. Now again, if you can't tell what this is quite yet, this is actually the over fender piece that rests on the hood. So this would be the left-hand side of the car. Nope, I'm kidding. This would be the right-hand side of the car. Here's the fender, here's the wheel, here's the front bumper. So this is how it gets printed. And you'll notice there's a little bit more baggage here. He is kind of sanding down and took off these support pieces that once came on the fender. Some pieces will require this, but it's super easy. You pretty much just get a couple clips and you start snipping away and then slowly kind of sand off the top. Now, I believe this is a polymer-based material, Calv, is that right?
This was printed in a polymer resin. Resin and the polymer are extruded, and UV lights come in and harden the material. This sort of material is sandable. From this point, it's simple. You just cut off the bits, you sand it smooth. These aren't gonna be what the kits are made of. This is just gonna be the first kit that TJ gets and the first kit that gets molded on.
The pieces that we're printing out that you're seeing are the pieces that will be on the car for SEMA, but it's not at the point to be cost effective to make every single kit this way. What this does is it expedites the process rather than using foam, cutting it, and then making molds off of it. We're gonna be making our fiberglass molds for the kit from the 3D printed versions. Now, had we had an extra month before SEMA, we could have actually made the molds from these and then used those fiberglass molds on the car for SEMA, but we simply just don't have that time. So we're actually going to be going to SEMA with these pieces on. And I do wanna mention, these pieces are very, very light, but they're not as light as the fiberglass that you would typically see on a body kit. Also, technology isn't quite there yet to make this thing a little bit lighter. It is almost about the double the weight of a fiberglass piece. But as I said, fiberglass literally weighs next to nothing anyway. So it's not like this is heavy by any means, but it is heavier than what you would typically see. So this is Kevin from Massivit. Kevin, what is your exact role for Massivit?
I'm the president of North America.
So what we have here is one of their printers. What is the exact model, or what would you call this exactly? Because I'm not trying to act like I know, because I don't know. That's what you're here for. So what are we even standing in front of?
So this is the Massivit 1800 Pro. This is the big dog. This is the highest end of our portfolio.
So one of the things that we had to do to make this work is from our renders, our CAD designs, some from John and from Street Fighter, we had the files, but they had to be converted to the language that your machine and program can understand. Is that correct?
The software that we utilize is a proprietary software. It's called Massivit Smart. And essentially what it is slicing software that takes the STL, the 3D image that comes in and breaks it into the layers that the printer then turns around. And as you see, the printer is very large. You can print up to 6 feet tall.
You can print me. You can print me in this.
Absolutely. So depending on how large, print 5 feet wide, you're talking about very large file if you're printing the full volume of the printer. So it could end up taking long, but generally speaking, it takes minutes to hours.
When we're doing piece by piece, I think we did the rear bumper pieces and the fender pieces in one go. How long did that take? I think roughly like 4 or 10 hours, something like that.
So the printer, it took about 3 hours to print what you saw outside. 2 of them were printed at the same time.
Do you see 3D printing being something that Massivit will have a heavy play in the automotive industry and as time evolves?
Oh, I absolutely believe so. What you're seeing here is a pioneering technology that's taking place. We're building, actually going to be building aftermarket parts, a body kit from start to finish in a matter of hours and days versus weeks and possibly even months.
What would you say is the reason why this machine prints so fast and is so cutting edge compared to previous technology?
Essentially what happens is the printer starts out printing with a acrylic-based photopolymer gel. UV lights that are attached to the print head, and as the gel is extruded, it's printing and curing immediately. So what that allows us to do is print one layer and immediately start printing the next layer.
And that's why you saw in those pieces that we had, there's almost like that texture where you can like, there's multiple like layers and stuff, because it prints a layer, cures instantly, prints another layer, cures instantly, and I think that's why you were saying in the machine, there's a big base at the bottom that raises to the top and prints from the top to the bottom. It goes layer by layer.
That is correct, that's correct.
What we have right here is a live view of what's happening inside. Look how fast this is moving. The reason why that's happening, again, is because as soon as the material is laid, the UV lights that follow it cure it instantly.
You can see the gel coat or the polymer acrylic as it passes by. So it started at the front, now it's going all the way back. And you can literally see layer by layer every piece go down, which is like the craziest thing. Look, it just hopped over another piece and it needs to add more here. And every once in a while the head will go off of the kit and clean itself. Right now it's cleaning the head because it has too much overflow on it, and then it goes ahead and it prints again. To have all that done in real time in a matter of 2 hours is insane. So here is a 3D printed piece. This is exactly what our body kit is made out of. It's just the raw 3D print. So when we go to sand it and get it ready, we're gonna need to shoot primer on it. Here is a piece that Calvin is holding. It's the same exact piece, but this with a high density primer.
It's insane how you go from this to this in one step.
We're gonna be spraying this in primer, and then once the primer's on there, we'll do some sanding. We might need to do it 1 or 2 more times, we don't quite know yet. We'll shoot it again in primer, sand it down, get the desired smoothness that we want, and then once it leaves from that state, you can see here is a, I guess you would say, stage 3 of a little Iron Man, and it looks flawless. We don't have that line definition, and this is what our body kit will look like when it's painted.
Nice.
Super big difference. Gonna be some learning from us as we do it, but crazy little visual demo here that I wanted to show you guys, because I know for some of you it might seem a little far of a stretch, you might not quite understand it. This kind of lays it out beautifully. Hope to have the whole entire kit printed in the next few days. Dylan behind camera, how many pieces is there? 14 or 16?
Maybe like 14 or 16, something
14
like
or
that.
16 pieces. So we're already like 35% there, 40% there. My math's not that good, but crazy, crazy timeline. And this would not be possible without that 3D printer. Like the timeline, SEMA, I literally was talking to the guys, we have like 15 days. 15 days before this car needs to go on the trailer.
That's not a lot of days.
It's
boys.
not.
It's not a lot of days.
And we still have to get H3 to scan the wheels and make the wheels.
Okay.
So yeah, let's not talk about the timeline. All right, so on the way home, I'm stopping by SOS. I'm dropping this off with Oscar because they need to start looking at what this is really gonna take to start sanding down and get ready. And I can really wanna show Oscar like this kit, we've been talking about it for so long, and SOS is playing a very, very important role in getting this kit ready because they're gonna help us do our body work and all of that stuff, which right now is our #1 concern.
Damn!
Feel it out, feel it out.
Okay.
We have those lines. It's a little bit heavier. Yeah, let's 3D print it today. Spray it with primer, sand it, spray it again, sand it, and that's to build up material. They said like the whole point of the priming and sanding is just to like build up for paint to stick on, and they told me it was a little bit rough to sand this, so you gotta use a DA and like get into it.
What material is it?
It's a polymer acrylic. I want to give you a head start on like figuring out the best way to like
Use this as a sample.
use this as a sample. This is gonna be a real piece on the car, so let's not screw it up. We don't have backups, but that's it. That is the back piece. So I wanted to stop by the shop before we ended today's video. Here is the left backhand piece. Now, if everything is to the measurement that we think, this should line up perfectly. I will note that when this is flush on the car, we're gonna need to cut some of this off here, and we're gonna need to cut some of this off here. The real thing we'll be testing for is the arc. If this arc lines up pretty well, then we could assume safely that the rest of the kit should piece together pretty nicely on the car. I'm gonna try to match off the arc into the bottom here, and this should fit. In person, it's looking good, Tej. I mean, that's what's crazy is that if you look from the top view, there's like a lot of space here. Yeah. We're gonna have to like cut that off, and that's where that body work's gonna come into play. But yeah, this is one piece, and then I think we have, I believe it goes like this.
Camera died as we were filming this last clip, but the rest of the pieces are still getting printed, and I'm editing this video in the truck, by the way, so we still have a few more pieces that we're waiting on to get in. I filmed this video a couple days ago, so I'm a little bit in the future here, but everything is going along great. We are still in check for our timeline, so all is well. I'll keep you guys updated the moment I have more pieces in hand. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.